You are watching Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco on Rider Nation Station, brought to you by these following fine sponsors: Buffalo Wild Wings, Miller's Funeral Home, Eagles Lodge 767, Rabel's Auto Service, Plus One Professionals, Hoglaze Equipment Rental, Midway Trailers, American Legion Post 323, Albert Sporting Goods, Family Ideology, Speckman Automotive, Kogi Plumbing and Heating, Spees Chiropractic, Varsity Lanes, Minster Bank, VFW Post 9289, and Quinary Pizzeria.
Hello and welcome to Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. I'm your host, Zach Farrell. Each and every week we have local official and Rough Rider alumni Mark Cisco join us to look at some clips from the previous week's game and talk about any officiating issues that may be out there. Mark, thanks for being back.
Thank you. It's always good to be here, Zach.
Mark, happy to say that you brought a little show and tell this week.
I did bring a play from one of our games earlier in the season. This play is a play that's late in the fourth quarter, and the play will be a hit on the quarterback. He's up in the upper right-hand corner. That's my feet you see up in the upper right-hand corner as I'm looking at the screen. So
we're talking about an ejection here,
possibly,
right? Possibly.
So the question is eject or not.
All right.
That's the question. So, boom. It went really quick. If we can run it back from the very beginning there, Mr. Technical Wizard.
So we're looking at the quarterback here.
He's gonna get rid of the football, and boom. So
player jumps up.
Now, from my vantage point, I couldn't tell whether we had helmet-to-helmet contact or not. Okay, I'm standing up there on the upper right-hand or left-hand corner right there, and so the hit comes in. His helmet was on towards me, but you can see right there. The quarterback's getting bent back, and what it was according to the coach of the offended player, he thought it was a great WWE move by the defender.
A clothesline, flying.
That's exactly what he said. That's exactly what he said. So my first thought, well, we got roughing the passer without a doubt because we got contact above the shoulders. Okay, so the question in my mind was, okay, we got roughing the passer. Do we eject the defender? So I went to my center judge, who's, you can't see him in the screen. I said, did you see the play? I said, I'm thinking about ejecting. What do you think? And he gives me a hesitation. And I said, okay, that's good enough. He's not going because we're told we have to be sure. This play called itself, but there's a distinction. This kid did not intend to hurt the quarterback in any way. I mean,
you didn't think it was intentional. You thought it was part of.
I don't think it was an intentionally type situation. We're going to punish the quarterback. I think it was a bad football play by the defender. He definitely jumps up, and all of a sudden we can't get the ball, so the arm comes out, and the quarterback's head is in the way, and he goes down. So we did not eject. We did have a roughing the passer. 15 yards automatic first down. To the defender's coach, he pulled the kid out. I don't know whether he stayed out or not, but he pulled him out, and I'm sure he gave him a good talking to. But talking to the offended player's coach via email, he agreed that it wasn't, ejection.
It wasn't egregious,
which was nice of him to say, truthfully. So it's one of those plays where we get paid not enough dollars to make those decisions.
Right. Well,
and even if we were, it's a tough decision.
Yeah.
It really is.
He looked like he's in the air, and he couldn't really correct himself at that point, and probably should have laid off, kept his arms down or something.
Probably should have, but don't let that fool you. These kids are very athletic, and they can do some fabulous things when they're in the air. So this was just, I think, a bad football play by the defender.
Well, that brings up a bigger question, which is what does get you ejected in football games? Is there a bright line?
If you want to talk unsportsmanlike conduct, there's all kinds of things that will get you done there. If you want to talk targeting or wherever, I think in the LSU football game there was a clear case of targeting. If people have seen that one, that was a definite launch. Lower the helmet, helmet-to-helmet contact. That's going to get you tossed every day. Things of that nature. Something that's very flagrant. Something that's meant to hurt or punish an opponent, will get you tossed as well. As far as things on the sideline, unsportsmanlike conducts will get you done. Normally, if it's on the coaching staff or the sideline, if you issue unsportsmanlike conduct penalties, let's say for a head coach, if you get 2 of them, you're out.
Right.
If a player gets 2 of them, he's gone.
Right.
Now, does that mean we're stuck with that? 2 of them, you're out? No. If it's egregious enough, you can be gone on the first foul.
Wow.
So,
and then somebody I know had asked us about coaches. What can they get ejected for?
running their mouths, incidents that will incite the crowd. Histrionics, if you will, out on the field, this and that, things of that nature, things that just aren't sportsmanlike in nature.
Gotcha.
Now, around in this area, coaches are pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, they get excited, they get worked up, they're fighting for their team. We get that, we understand. But when you lose control of that, or more than likely, it's an assistant that sometimes will pipe up, and the most head coaches will take care of that issue right away.
Top of your head, how many years have you officiated? Do you recall how many coaches you've had to eject? Has it been?
I've never had to eject a coach.
That's good.
We've had to eject a player or two, namely for fighting, basically, or doing something really stupid when they shouldn't have, and everything was all justified. But that's probably been less than a handful in 40 years.
Well, we've only got a few clips this week, so we're going to take a break right now, come back with 12 clips from the Rough Rider Wapakoneta game, and talk about some things from that game. We'll be back right after this.
You are watching Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco on Rider Nation Station. Brought to you by these following fine sponsors: Buffalo Wild Wings, Miller's Funeral Home, Eagles Lodge 767, Rabel's Auto Service, Plus One Professionals, Oglaze Equipment Rental, Midway Trailers, American Legion Post 323, Albert Sporting Goods, Family Ideology, Speckman Automotive, Kogi Plumbing and Heating, Speeds Chiropractic, Varsity Lanes, Minster Bank, VFW Post 9289, and Guaneri Pizzeria.
Welcome back to Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco. I'm your host, Zach Farrell. Thank you to all our sponsors who allow us to bring you these great shows every week on Rider Nation Station, and of course the games on Friday night.
Yep.
We're going to jump right into the clips here from the St. Mary's Wapakoneta game, Mark.
All right.
First one here was just starting the game off with a touchback.
Okay.
And I wanted to talk about what counts as a touchback. Tell me if I'm wrong or not, but is any part of the player's body in the end zone when they touch the ball, is that considered a touchback?
That is not.
Okay.
It's any part of the football that would break the plane of the goal line. So right there, the receiver at the top of the screen, he may have his foot on the line right there, but that doesn't necessarily mean the ball broke the plane. Now, is it not? The referee's in the middle. He's looking down the line, and he's got a good look at this. So catch, was the ball over the goal line at that point? Probably.
Yeah.
So in theory, it's a touchback. Now, if the receiver would have caught it in the field of play, stepped back, or even ran back in the end zone, he's got to get it out of there.
That's interesting. I think we had a play last week against Defiance where the Defiance defender caught it, I thought, clearly outside of the end zone, but his back foot was in the end zone, and I think they called a touchback. So I may have to look at that for future games coming up.
I might have to look at that. Yep, yeah, that's true.
We're going to jump into the next play. Wapakoneta had 12 men on the field. You can see one start to run off.
Okay.
This is out of the offensive huddle.
Right.
They did call a timeout quickly, but should that have already been called a penalty?
Well, here's the deal with that rule. When it looks like maybe there was a huddle previous, and you can break the huddle with 12. There's no such thing as you can't break the rule or the huddle with 12 like there is in college. Mm-hmm. Okay. So if a substitute came in, the person that's supposed to leave has 3 seconds to vacate the huddle.
Okay.
So if the huddle happens to break when he's leaving, then there's no issue. If he was in there longer than 12 seconds or 3 seconds, now we may have a problem. So a lot of times, for me, I'm getting ready to throw the flag, and the coach will call a timeout. Well, we're going to let him have the timeout.
I heard a lot of fans yelling illegal substitution.
That would be the foul at that point.
Okay.
But we're told that, look, if the coach wants to spend a timeout to prevent a foul like that, let him take the timeout. I mean, he's going to lose it for later on, so in a way it costs him a little bit. And there's been occasions, though, when the flag's already in there and they try to call timeout, we're going to get him for illegal substitution.
Okay.
So he knew something was wrong. Now, was the player late in leaving? We can't tell here, but it's possible.
Well, and they got the timeout anyway before anything was called.
Correct.
So we're going to jump into the next one. This was a defensive holding called on St. Mary's.
Okay.
So you look at the top of their screen, there's the classic pump and go.
Right.
So the pump's right there. The receiver has a little bit of a step, and looks like the defender grabbed him right there. And you can see the flag come in from across.
From the back judge.
From
probably.
the back judge, yeah.
Right, let's see it again. So this would be the back judge's guy. He's looking at that right there, and he sees a shoulder or something.
Sees a little bit of a twist.
And that's probably a good call. The ball wasn't in the air yet. Had the ball been in the air, we'd have had pass interference.
Okay.
So it'd be a 10-yard penalty from the previous spot, and if it would be enough to get a first down, why they would have got a first down out of it.
So good call there, you think?
I think it was, yep.
Yeah. This was just an interesting broken play from Wapakoneta. They fumbled the snap a little bit on the extra point, and were able to pick it up and actually complete a pass into the end zone for a two-point conversion. But the reason I brought it up was I was just curious, in the act of a kick, when the ball touches the ground, is it ever dead? So does it? So if he would drop it, I guess several times, and the ball would touch the ground, would it be dead if the player would have touched him while that ball was laying on the ground? If the St. Mary's player would have touched? Okay.
That's a live football. As long as the holder in this situation doesn't come up off of his knee, I mean, he can fumble around with it all he wants. If he gets it placed, great. If he picks it up and then goes with it, that's fine there. Now the kicker stops right there, and the holder was able to pick it up. So far, so good. So the other question becomes, okay, what if the St. Mary's defender had just come in and just pulverized the holder right there? Would we have a roughing call? You would not, because the ball hadn't been kicked. So basically, the holder is a runner and is subject to any other tackling and regulations that might be in play. So the defender comes in. If he tackles the holder while the ball is in his possession, it's dead right there.
So you need the holder's knee to rise before that ball becomes a potential, like a running back or something like that.
Well, in theory, once he comes up off the ground, if he goes back down, the ball would be dead at that point.
Okay.
All right. So if the holder still has the ball in possession on the ground with his knee on the ground, because he is a holder, because it's a scrimmage kick formation, then that ball is still live until he's either tackled with it or the ball's kicked or something like that.
And so if he rises up, he can't put it back down for another kick.
He cannot, not in that situation. After he controls it, if he goes up and goes back down, the ball's dead at that point.
Okay, all right, that's interesting. It doesn't. We don't see it too often.
You don't see it too often.
when it comes up, it's interesting.
Right.
We have the out of bounds kick here from Wapakoneta, and I only brought this up to ask: is there still a rule that you can force a team to re-kick with a 5 or 10 yard penalty?
You can. He's going to throw the flag at where it went out of bounds. So the options are. The receiving team could take the ball 25 yards in advance of the free kick line, which would put it at the 35. Okay.
Right.
They can have the kicking team re-kick after a 5-yard penalty. Okay. Or they could take the ball where it went out of bounds, and that depending on where it went out of bounds. Obviously, you're going to make them do something with it if we kicked it down, past the 35. If it went about, let's say, on the receiver's 40, you may say, we'll take it right there. And away we go.
Right, yeah. Take it where it went out of bounds would be even better. I think we're going to see this a lot more. It seems like the kick returns are more and more dangerous, and so dangerous in the sense of people running them back, or
well, that's
at least
part of it, and because of the rule changes went into effect, you'll notice that the kicking teams can't get beyond 5 yards of it. That was done because major injuries happen on kick plays.
Right.
It wouldn't surprise me somewhere down the road that they just outlaw kickoffs altogether.
Right.
You're going to put the ball in the 35, first and 10, and away you go. That may be coming.
Right
now, that's kind of simmered down a little bit, but it's possible.
Well, I think we'll see it more, and I'm interested to see if a team like St. Mary's decides we're just going to start making them re-kick with the 5-yard penalty and see what happens with it.
Hey, a kicker sometimes gets that in their head, and we had a game early in the season where the kicker kicked it out 3 times in a row.
Wow. So
they moved him back 5 yards, and pretty soon they got it up to where they wanted it and said, okay, now we'll take it 25 yards from where he's kicking it now.
I still remember in high school against Salina, we took it 2 or 3 times, and that's what set up the 42-yard field goal by Nick Peffenberger to win the game. So
sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. We're going to jump into the next clip. This was one that we have talked about, I think, in the past, but the receiver's forward progress is stopped in bounds. Yes. He goes out of bounds, but the clock keeps running.
Correct, and you said the correct thing there. The forward progress was stopped while he was in bounds. So there's a progress spot right there. If he's forced out of bounds going sideways or backwards, all right, the clock should continue to run. All right, now differentiate that from a play where he catches it. If he'd have been going forward, out of bounds, I mean, the hit didn't take him backwards. He runs forward a half a yard and he goes out of bounds there. The clock should stop. A lot of people don't know the differentiation in those rules.
So forward progress is different than the play being called dead necessarily, or should it be the same?
Forward progress signifies the end of the play, and you'll see that a lot of times in line plunges. I mean, you got a kid that's handed off fullback right up the middle, boom, and then we stopped, and then we start getting driven back. Forward progress is at the spot that pile started moving back. No matter what happens after that, the ball would be marked at that point.
Okay.
So the clock obviously would run.
My only criticism of that is that it seems like the officials are quick to call that forward progress stopped, but they're not as quick when the ball is in the middle of the field and there's a pile sort of going back and forth.
Well, you know, the part of that is we have to be able to find the football, because you've got a pile in there. How many times have you seen a pile and all of a sudden the defender comes out with it?
Right.
So we're gonna give the runner an opportunity to get free, but with that, you have to give the defense an opportunity to take the ball away, so to speak. Not after forward progress is stopped, but when you can find the football. So again, that's why we get paid what we do to make those, and it's not much, mind you, to make those calls. Yes.
Right. This next play was a fumble recovery from St. Mary's, a run down the sidelines, but a clip called against the St. Mary's blocker then. So we see a nice big hit there on the Wapakoneta QB. Sharp gets the ball, runs on the field, and we see 14 right there get called with a
block in the back.
Block in the back.
Yep, that's probably a good call. That's pretty clear. Pretty clear. I mean, yes, you're going to go back 10 yards, and really and truthfully, it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
I mean, it was unnecessary to do that. Sometimes you just have to let somebody make a tackle or something like that rather than commit the foul.
We've got another view here on the sidelines, and I know we slowed it down on the night of. I did think it was more obvious looking from this end zone view.
Okay. Well, let's take a look at that.
On the night of, we slowed it down, and we just weren't sure how much it was on the back or the side.
Okay.
But I think.
And there's a good question right there. I mean, that's a heck of a hit for the ball to come loose, and. Yeah, see, that's one of those. Is it not?
It doesn't look like it as bad from that angle, does it? But
yeah, I mean, the good thing, probably what should have happened there is the referee maybe should have got involved and they should have talked about it a little bit. Was this really a block in the back? Was it more side than back?
Or was it just the momentum of the?
The kid falls on his back after a little twisting. Yeah. Again, I'm sitting here and I'm not on the field.
And the official's right there, right in front of it. So I think we give him the benefit of the doubt that he saw that. Yep. So this next clip here was a kickoff out of bounds, and it looks like it goes right over the pylon.
Oh.
So, and again, the official's standing right there, but
he's right there on the
just
pylon.
Just wanted your opinion on it. It looked very close.
He's leaning into towards the inside, so that tells me he's going to have it in the end zone for a touchback.
Okay. Yeah.
So they tell us that if we're standing there and if we have a kicker with a strong leg and he kicks it in the air, if you're standing on the pylon and the ball is coming right at you at the corner, you're going to look up and you look left or you look right. You're either going to be out of bounds or you're going to be in the end zone, depending on where your head's going to go. And if you're going to do that, they tell us when in doubt, it's a touchback. And
unlike a punt, that we don't have to worry about any coffin corner on that one.
Correct.
It would have been either a penalty or a touchback. So.
Correct.
This next call was just a kind of a standard face mask call against Wapak on the running back. You can see him come there through the middle, and his whole head gets twisted.
Yeah, that's a pretty good indication when the helmet goes like that. Yep.
The side view is actually not as obvious. It was kind of hard for us to see up in the press box, but it was nice to see that end zone view where it was very clear. See the head just sort of twists a little bit there.
The referee. We have multiple flags on that. So, yeah.
Just sort of a standard face mask. This next play here was a contact downfield call. And I think it's a little bit hard to see on the end zone view, but we'll see if we can pick it up here. Nothing was called, but you can see the receiver is just getting up there. I think it was a good, clean call where the receiver had just fallen down, and we can see it a little bit better on the side view. So we're looking at the receiver to the top of the screen, and then the receiver to the bottom of the screen goes over. But the receiver on the top of the screen is the one that falls down, and the Wapak quarterback put it up for grabs. And you see him just fall down right there.
Fall down right there.
I just figured.
I think he fell down,
Yeah.
tripped up, possibly tried to make a move. Let's just see again. Yeah, he tries to do something and runs into the defender. There's nothing there at all. There's
Good.
nothing there at all. I mean,
I figured there were maybe some Wapakoneta fans that may have thought there
probably
was.
got worked up, but a lot of times the fans were chirping, and the coaches know. They're right down there. They see what happens. So.
This next play was a punt from St. Mary's. The punt goes into the end zone, but you can see the St. Mary's receiver faked like he's going to catch the ball right there. And what I thought was interesting, I just wanted to talk about, he didn't call for a fair catch.
Right.
So if the defender comes down and just lays him out because he thinks that he's catching the ball, does anything get called there?
Well, you could have a personal foul.
Okay.
I mean, not necessarily kick-catch interference because obviously there's the ball is way beyond him or something like that. But you could have a personal foul for an unnecessary roughness type situation. The receiver there was just trying to decoy the defender and trying to get him to stop. So in case the ball didn't get in the end zone, he wanted him to slow down possibly and not get to it. So
at any
that's a good play.
If any point he gets hit without having the ball, it could be a personal foul.
Could be, depending on the severity of the hit. Yes.
Gotcha.
Yep.
This next play is St. Mary's defensive end was lining up way past the line of scrimmage, but he did fix himself and nothing was called.
Okay.
You can see him right there.
We're going to give him an opportunity to get back. The last thing we want to do is throw a flag for something like that, and we give him an opportunity. If he'd have stayed there, obviously he's not going to, but he realizes what's going on, or the coaches are going, get back.
Yeah.
That's fine. We're going to give him that opportunity. Technically, as soon as the center put his hands on the ball, should it have been an encroachment? Yes, it should have.
Well, that was a big play. That was a 3rd and short, and then St. Mary's got a big loss on it. That could have been very
worked out
different.
for them, yeah.
Right. And looking at that was the last play. So
okay, well, we're good then, huh?
Tricked myself there. Well, Mark, that was our 12 clips from the game Friday night. We'll hopefully have clips from St. Mary's victory against Ottawa Glandorf next week.
Let's hope
Want to
so.
thank you again for joining us for
Always
Rules
a
of the
pleasure.
Game.
Thanks, Zach.
We'll see you guys next week.
You are watching Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco on Rider Nation Station. Brought to you by these following fine sponsors: Buffalo Wild Wings, Miller's Funeral Home, Eagles Lodge 767, Rabel's Auto Service, Plus One Professionals, Oglaze Equipment Rental, Midway Trailers, American Legion Post 323, Albert Sporting Goods, Family Ideology, Speckman Automotive, Kogi Plumbing and Heating, Spees Chiropractic, Varsity Lanes, Minster Bank, VFW Post 9289, and Guarneri Pizzeria. Thanks for watching another episode of Rider Nation Station. Help us help you by subscribing on YouTube or following us on Facebook. You are watching Rules of the Game with Mark Cisco on Rider Nation Station, brought to you by these following fine sponsors: Buffalo Wild Wings, Miller's Funeral Home, Eagles Lodge 767, Rabel's Auto Service, Plus One Professionals, Oglaze Equipment Rental, Midway Trailers, American Legion Post 323, Albert Sporting Goods, Family Ideology, Speckman Automotive, Kogi Plumbing and Heating, Speeds Chiropractic, Varsity Lanes, Minster Bank, VFW Post 9289, and Guarneri Pizzeria.